Okay, so now that we have our eyes drawn in, today we're gonna focus a little bit on the nose and the mouth. So we're gonna go ahead, like we did on our generic portrait, draw that guideline in, halfway between your eye line and your chin, right? And right away, I'm gonna go ahead and draw that line in between my nose line and my chin for my mouth line. So I just kinda have it there already. Now remember, your nose is as wide as your eyes, so I'll draw some light lines down like this for the guidelines, and for the mouth, from the center of the eyes down. So right, I kind of have my rectangle for my nose and my rectangle for my mouth. Right, you can even draw that little triangle in like that. Now I'll start the same way. I'll draw my little circle, lightly, the parentheses, and that can kind of get me started for my nose, right? So I'm gonna just darken this bottom little part of the circle, curve it out to the nostrils like that. Now this is gonna be the darkest part of my nose. So I'm gonna go right in there and add a little dark value, right? Blend it in a little. Okay, now I started kind of defining the bridge of my nose here at the top when I did my eyes. So maybe I'll bring this line in a little bit longer, kind of just shade along the side of the nose lightly, kind of add some shadow, blend it in. Do two little diagonal lines, kind of like from the corners of your nostrils up here, right? Maybe even a little darker there. Right, so this kind of line here, underneath there will be a little shadow, and around your nostril, because your nostril sticks out from your face. So it's gonna be, this part of your nostril is gonna be lighter than this part of your face here. And conversely, your nose, the tip of your nose should be lighter than around here. So I can even add like a little shadow, kind of just blend in around there. So just by kind of drawing a little bit of light shadow in, just lightly putting in some light value, blending it in, smudging it, right? Kind of just makes it already kind of appear like the nose is popping out at you and the rest of it's going away. So the darker you make your shadows, the more it's going to look like it pops out, right? Next to the light. So if you have a really light color next to a really dark color, that's called contrast, and that's what really makes things pop out. So I want to make sure I kind of get the shape of my nostrils the right way that I want them. And keep going in, blending, stuff like that. Now, I'll also have to use my eraser at sometimes, maybe too many of these little lines here, I'll erase. Okay. So just kind of build up the shape using these light values, kind of very light at first. You can always, it's a lot easier to get darker. Now your nose is curved around, so there might be a little shading, a little shadow underneath at the bottom there, because your nose kind of is curving from out, around, down, back towards your face. Okay, I'll draw these little lines in that I drew when I was doing my mouth. These cleft lines in there. Be a little darker, right? Okay, and then I can kind of start drawing my lips in. Start by drawing the shape of my upper lip. Now your lines don't have to come all the way up, right? That's fine. If they don't, so it's really important to add shading underneath to make it look like it's popping out, right? So I didn't do this, do this diagonal line. You can see I'm kind of starting from the top of the nostril down to kind of where this rectangular was for my mouth, right? And I'll add that shading. And I'll add the shading. Right, you don't want to make it look like you have a mustache though, right? You don't want it to be really dark right above your lip. You can see it's kind of dark under the nose, but then your lips are coming out, so they're gonna be a little lighter. All right, so now for the shading on the lips, do not color side to side. If you look closely at your lips, a lot of times you'll see little lines that kind of go up and down. So what I like to do is kind of start at the bottom lip, kind of just draw some little lines up, okay? Kind of like how when I was doing these here, kind of like that down here on the lip. Then blend them up a little bit. Okay. Kind of make it look like it has a little texture. Now also your lip is probably going to be the darkest where it's together. So you can always add a little shadow there. Really the key to all of this is just very slowly building up your values, starting super light, and you can always go in and make things darker, right? Try a little bit at a time and building up those values, right? You're gonna continue building up value to your face. Now your face is gonna curve away, so kind of in here, in your cheek area, you'll have a little value, and around the edge. A little bit under your mouth. Now, right now, I'm just kind of generically shading in. When you're looking at your own picture of yourself, you're going to look at a black and white photo of yourself and see where the areas are darker. Okay, so my hair goes in here. Okay, my ears. Add some shading. Kind of like that. All right. And then the last thing to shade would be your neck. And your neck obviously is going to be kind of one of the darker spots underneath your chin. So you can go in, kind of start adding some value. Now, I see a lot of people are kind of sometimes leaving their lines like this. This is fine for when you start, but you want to blend those in, right? You want to get rid of those lines and make it look like just a smooth area of color, right? So the more you add layers, slowly, lightly, and you can see I'm using the side of my pencil. All right, so that's kind of a general way to do some extra shading on the nose, extra shading on the mouth. All right, so that's what we're gonna be practicing today, is just kind of, now that you have your eyes,
the rest of the time
try to work on your nose, try to work on your mouth, add some shading to try to make it look a little more realistic.
All those other areas of your face, okay? Feel free to look at yourself in the mirror or a picture of yourself to help you out. In our next class, we'll be beginning to make our final self-portraits. I'll be teaching you some tips and tricks on how to take a quality picture of yourself, as well as editing it so you have the best reference photo possible. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you practice, and I can't wait to see what you guys can come up with. Have a great day and stay awesome.